space, final frontier. These are the voyages of Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission, to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilization, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Greetings, salutations, and welcome to Retrek. I'm Captain Jim, and with me, of course, is Admiral Elliot.
Hi there.
And we are Dr. Squealus this week, but don't worry, he'll be back next week, and I'm sure he'll have a lot of stuff to say. See, I think he's a bit gutted he can't make it this week, because I loved that last episode. But anyway, just the two of us this week, and we're talking about the latest episode of Picard, which is Mercy. And I think that's a deliberate title, isn't it? Like it's almost meant to be like a companion piece. You've got monsters, then Mercy. Then I'm not sure what it's called next week, but it's something totally different, isn't it? Actually, it's not. Well, I thought maybe it'd be another M1.
Like, apart from the one episode I slipped up with and saw the trailer, I've made a really conscious effort not to read anything or see anything about following weeks. And I'm really glad I've made that decision.
Definitely. And I suppose that's the advantage of us in the UK, that we don't get Paramount Plus, because I imagine they put loads of adverts on for upcoming episodes during your other shows and stuff like that, whereas we get it on Prime and it's literally...
Yeah, they've not even put the trailer at the end of Prime episodes, have they?
No, Prime really don't make a fuss about Picard. Like, even though I watch it every single week, it never comes up as like me top of me to watch this or anything. You'd think they'd make a bit more of a kerfuffle over it. Maybe they just, maybe they know it's going to go to Paramount Plus when that launches in the UK, so they're just like,
To be honest, it's got one more season, and I imagine Prime have it for the third season.
They might have, and then
yeah. Well, I don't think Jeff needs the money in the same way as Netflix are short of money to allow Paramount to buy it back off him.
Yeah, I don't think he does. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Netflix at the minute, but we'll find out. And, you know, at the minute, Netflix, if you are in the UK, apart from the new shows, it's still your place for classic Trek. Everything's on there, but whether that'll still be the case in the future or not, who knows? Watch this space. But anyway, Mercy then. The penultimate, anti-penultimate episode. And I think this is another really strong one. I think we're ramping everything up, and it's clear that now we're in the end game now.
Yeah, this is really setting up the end game, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the calm before the storm. As much as, you know, there's a lot going on, but I think it's really going to kick off next week. But we start off then with a flashback, and it's a kid seeing some Vulcans on Earth, and it's not the Vulcans from Carbon Creek, but it's very similar to what was. It's obviously another one of these. Yeah,
I was trying to work out the years, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work in the years.
No,
which is a shame, because that would have been brilliant to work it out like that.
Yeah, that would have been really good if they could have done it and brought in the same actors.
Yeah,
that would have been a nice. And I won't put it past this show to do something like that.
Yeah, that would have been a nice touch.
But yeah, the timeline doesn't stack up. So it's different Vulcans on a different but very similar. And then we pick up right where we left off. So we've got Picard and Guinan being interviewed. And the guy that we speculated, was he a temporal agent? I guess the answer seems to be no.
It seems to be no, but does he get recruited after, and like that thing that they did with, what did they call him? Began with B, Captain Braxton, because they can sort of blend the timelines and have them at any age. So he could have been recruited after this episode.
It could have been, or it could be that he's the great grandfather of the guy who's on the relativity, because we know that the male gene is particularly strong in Star Trek families, or certainly
unless you're Romulan, and then it's really strong.
Yes.
Female.
Yes, very true. Romulan's the female gene's the strong ones. Look at Tasha Yar and Sealer as well.
Yeah.
So, whereas humans, or certainly the Soong family, it seems to be the male side of the family, which also true in the Back to the Future universe. So,
yeah.
in fact, they're both strong, aren't they, in the Back to the Future universe?
To be fair, in a lot of franchises, the genes are very, very strong.
Yeah. So I like that the guy comes in straight away with, "Are you an extraterrestrial life form?" Like, fair play to him. He's not messing about.
Not messing about. He's asking the relevant questions.
Yeah. And if they'd have said yes, nice short interrogation from him. He's proved his point. He's made his reputation.
Yeah.
It's fine if they'd have said yeah, and then just whipped the mask off and they'd been a grey alien and everything. He'd have done it. And Guinan actually points out that we're in the basement here, and that's got to be a bit of a reference to the X-Files. The fact that we've got a basement office in the FBI, and it's a guy who's obsessed with aliens.
Yeah,
they don't put they don't wrap a bow on it, and they don't point directly at it. But I just like that.
Yeah, it was a nice little reference, wasn't it, without being blatant reference.
Like, if you're a geek, you can't not make that connection. It'd have been cool if he'd have had an "I want to believe" poster or
poster up at wall.
That'd have been, but it was only the field office, so it's probably not his main office. I bet he's got an "I want to believe" poster at wherever his main one is, back at the Hoover building or whatever it is. So yeah, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the dynamic with him and them and everything. And then the other side of it is we've got Rafi and Seven are out looking for Jurati. Rios is checking that the ship's okay. We get a bit more. We're very, very subtly playing the Rafi and Seven relationship. Like we know that they sort of got together at the end of season 1. We know that they're still together at the start of season 2 as Picard asks how it's going, but it seems like the relationship's maybe a little bit strained.
Yeah.
And they seem personable with each other, and they're a bit flirty with each other now and again, but we've not seen any sort of overt displays of affection between them. So it's interesting to kind of speculate as to where they might be in this relationship, and I presume we'll get some end to that arc at some point. But it's just sort of getting nudged along this week. Like they're deliberately sort of positioning them as antagonists in this search, that Rafi needs Seven to, in her words, sort of go into the Borg Queen's mind. And obviously Seven's very resistant to doing it. So you've got this relationship where one partner is pushing the other one to do something that they don't really want to do. So that can't be good for the relationship. It's got to be straining it a little bit more. But I think
we get a bit more of this story that Rafi's pushy and wants people to fit into her world.
How did you feel about that? Because I've heard people sort of talking online and things and saying, well, it's one of those where all of a sudden we're being told that Rafi's got this character trait. And you think back and think, well, have we seen that?
Yeah.
We've seen evidence that Rafi's quite manipulative. And she says, well, everybody knows you like that. And I'm like, I'd have to rewatch season 1, but I'm not sure that I know that Rafi's like that.
No, I'm not sure I knew Rafi was like that, but I think it's that bit. I think usually from Elnor, aren't they?
Yes. Yeah.
She's manipulated him to be like, she's blaming herself for his death because she made him stay with Starfleet.
Yeah. And that serves a really good function in that all of a sudden you go, right, it makes a lot more sense now that Rafi's been so guilty about it, because I think we said on an earlier episode, like, Rafi and Elnor have obviously bonded a lot in between seasons. That
I'm not sure what timescales meant to have passed between season 1 and season 2, but I get the impression that it's probably about a couple of years.
Maybe I'd say at least a year.
It's at least a year, maybe 2 years. So, and if you think how Elnor was, that he only joined them to serve a hopeless cause.
Yeah.
he's done his mission where he went off with Picard.
Well, that's it. And, every single character, where we pick up with them in season 2, they've moved and changed a hell of a lot from where we left them in season 1. So there's definitely a serious passage. I'm sure we could probably work it out, because we know that this is meant to be 2401. Yes, that'd be 25th century. So the previous one was the previous one 2499? So maybe I'll
99, 98, 99, wasn't it? So we've had about two years.
And that makes sense for this relationship to have built up between them. But I still kind of feel like
I still haven't listened to the audio drama that was.
No,
these are drama that it is meant to be canon. And it fits between season 1 and season 2 with Raffi and Seven.
So that'll obviously add a lot to that relationship. And presumably, if Raffi's heavily featured, we'll see a lot of her relationship with Elnor. But there's a lot of these things where, like, she says to Elnor in the flashback, like, she says, oh, the plan was that you were going to stay with me. And it's like, oh, wait a minute, when did that plan come into effect? We weren't aware of this. So I like that they're backfilling it. I don't mind that, and I think the flashback is effective in doing that.
I think part of the problem is, like we said, there's a big time jump. You've got 10 episodes with a very intense story to fill in.
Yeah.
And you maybe got 10 seconds here, 20 seconds there to fit into years of what's happened to people. And sometimes that can feel a little bit disjointed when you're doing that.
And that's it. Like, I don't have an issue in backstory. The thing that I kind of do have the issue with is that all of a sudden the telling us that a character's got this character trait.
Yeah. That we haven't really seen.
Familiar with. And then we get a flashback that shows, oh, yeah, look, she was manipulative. But it's like, well, it'd be nice if you'd have shown us that over the previous 80 episodes or 70, whatever, that we've actually known this character. It'd be nice that you didn't have to put that flashback in so that we go, no, Seven, you're right, Raffi is quite manipulative. So I'm on the fence about that development, but I don't think it's a deal breaker. I think I can live with it. I just think it was maybe
it's maybe a bit forced.
Yeah, the quality of the writing we've had this season.
Yeah.
Feels like it could have been done a lot more sort of subtly. But I do like the fact that Raffi's giving Seven all this speech about you need to tap into your Borg side, blah, 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 blah. But instead she goes, you know what, I'm just going to go ask this guy which way they went. And me and you had a similar experience this weekend, didn't we, when we were out and we were in Nottingham, which neither of us are from Nottingham.
We've been there before.
We had some friends who lived there. And we said, okay, how do we get to the train station? So you've got to go up here, you've got to go around there.
And it's 10 minutes walk.
Yeah, you can get a tram from here. You can do that. And we said, okay, just point us in the direction. And if we get lost, we'll ask someone. And we did that and we found it. So there you go. So maybe that's...
But it was a lot further than the 10-minute walk, they told us.
It was a lot further than the 10-minute walk.
Where we ended up getting the tram. So I'm not impressed that people local think that was a 10-minute walk.
You people...
Especially with you with your bad knees and me with my bad back.
That's it. They need to think about us. And you know who you are. We're not going to say your names live on air. But if you're listening, it's not a 10-minute walk.
Yeah.
Record. But I'm thinking maybe now that I think about it, because we'd obviously seen this episode before we went to Nottingham. So maybe that was in the back of our head. We're like, we'll 7 of 9 this one.
To be fair, I've never had a problem asking directions off
people. No, I know. Exactly. That's the way you used to do things.
Yeah.
But like we said the other day, the problem is that all the...
people have all the sat-navs on the phone and they're going, we're going to the pub. Where is it? Oh, I'll get my Google map out.
Yeah.
Ask someone.
Whereas it's like we said before, the problem with that is that because there aren't as many pubs now, that's how you used to work out where things were. You'd always say, you go to this pub, then you turn left, and then when you see that pub, you're about 10 meters away. Anyway, so Seven's obviously...
that's how the original driving tapes worked.
Yes.
Navigation.
Yes,
that was a thing in the 1970s before we had sat nav. You had driving tapes.
Driving tapes, and didn't you say that they sort of somehow knew how fast you were going? So
they had a sense
on the.
You had to put your car had to have a chip, or a board that plugged into it that said what make of car it was.
Yeah.
And there was a sensor that knew the size of wheels for that car, so it counted rotations of wheels to work out distance that you'd gone.
Right.
But that used to say that did use the pub names.
Yeah, exactly. So
it was very specific. It'd be like from your house to where you were going, you had to have a different tape for every journey.
Yeah,
I don't think it ever took off.
It's one of them, good idea, but you needed to wait a few more years for the technology to go on. But Seven's got the right idea. She's asking where she's going. She finds it. And for a split second there, when the guy said, oh, yeah, she left with this guy with the red hair, I thought she's killed the punk off the bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, no, you can't have brought him in and killed him. Luckily, it doesn't look like it's the punk. So
no, it was some guy. It was that guy from Bar who was playing pool last week.
Right. So at least we know the punk's still okay then. That's fine. Going back to Picard then, I like that this could be just a silly bit of a fun interrogation. They could have played this whole thing for laughs if they'd have wanted to. But they don't, because they do create this tension of, well, wait a minute, if this guy's filed all these reports and he says to his superiors that we're trying to interfere with that mission, then they're just going to cancel the mission.
Yeah.
So the very fact that we've been arrested could actually ruin it. So there is, even though we know Picard's going to get out of it, but there is a sense that this could actually jeopardize the bigger thing as well as being an issue.
This could be an issue for them. Like they've put the history back on track, and this could be a blip in it because they've got arrested.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's good that it does, even in an episode which is very much concerned with just setting up the pieces, it has still got its own internal drama to it. And then we pick up with Corey as well, and the penny finally drops. Like, she puts on the VR goggles, Q's left a program in there. And she says, am I an experiment? And it's like, okay.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, we had that worked out as soon as we saw you. But we do have the benefit of knowing that she looks exactly like an android from the future.
Yeah.
So we did have a bit of a leg up on it. But I'm glad that she's finally got there. I feel like she could have got there a little bit quicker, but never mind. We're there now. And then Q sends her this cure. And I feel like this is another reference to Alice in Wonderland because it's in a little vial with a little note on it.
Yeah, well, it says freedom, didn't it? And like the first time I watched that, I really hoped that it just said "drink me." Yeah,
that's what I was.
That's what I wanted. I wanted it just to say "drink me."
Yeah, and it's another one of these, isn't it? It's the same as the guy being like the X-Files without saying, "Look, it's the X-Files." This is Alice in Wonderland without. Exactly Alice in Wonderland. But it must be Alex Kurtzman who's a big Alice in Wonderland fan because we're getting this quite a few times. Seven and Rafi then do find the dead guy. And this is where like she does actually start to tap into the Borg side of it. And she has to think about what it was like being a Borg. And it's basically she thinks the Borg Queen's trying to feel a connection because she's cut off from the hive.
Yeah.
But she's almost trying to like assimilate people individually to try and get that buzz back.
Yeah, and it hasn't just sort of a physical connection doesn't work for her.
No, it's not enough for her.
Yeah, so she's obviously had sex with this guy in this alleyway, whatever it is. Yeah, I think that's what they mean when she's tried to have a connection.
Oh,
and it hasn't worked. It hasn't been enough.
Oh, right. See, that hadn't even crossed my mind.
Yeah, I thought like she's gone, like she's tried to have a intimate connection, sort of to feel
right. I mean,
joined with somebody, but that hasn't been enough.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it, and it absolutely works. And
that's what I got from it.
There is precedent for that with the Borg Queen seducing Data. So, yeah, it could well be a case of, right, well, I can't assimilate people. What can I do within the confines of this body?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go. The pool guy. Yeah. Okay. No, sadly, no longer with us, but
he went out in a good way.
Might have gone out.
There's worse ways to die.
Yes, I would agree with you. And then there's this thing about phone batteries, which I'm not sure that they did have a dig a few episodes ago where they said, "Oh, we're all on his phones all the time." And I wonder if this is just a little bit elaborating on that, just going, you see, phones are evil, look. The whole Queen's going to use them to destroy the internet.
Well,
now, give the Paramount Plus channel a like and follow on YouTube on your mobile device. There's a hypocrisy there, but...
It was one of the chemicals, wasn't it? It was...
lithium ion, yeah.
Lithium ion, which is a stabilizer.
Yeah, and 7 reveals there. We get a bit more insight into how assimilation works. Like, well, we need to put this in your body so that you don't reject all of the metal stuff coming in. So there's a very sound reason for it to be there in terms of the plot and everything. And then it turns out she's also getting it out of car batteries as well. And
well, like, we are on the verge of a lot of cars going to all electric.
Absolutely.
I know in the UK, I don't know about the rest of the world. I don't know about America, but in the UK, it's been said that there'll be no new petrol cars after 2030. All cars will be electric. So, and that's where all the lithium is going in the world, into electric car batteries.
Absolutely. So we're accidentally making a perfect breeding ground for the Borg Queen. So just, think about that, people, in future. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, you do see...
But she's obviously, like, the Borg Queen, when she's inside Jurati, like, she's obviously got some of the nanoprobes in there.
Mm-hmm.
And that when she's assimilated or joined... Well, I don't think it's even assimilated. It's more like merged with her.
Yeah.
Because, like, 7 does say we're witnessing the birth of a new Borg Queen.
Yeah, this is a new thing. It's not the Borg as we understand it.
Yeah.
And, Jurati, as we find out...
She's got to have altered her biology inside her already to be able to take on these lithium ions.
Well, that's it. I think what she's doing... We've got a couple of things going on. We've got this thing that she needs to keep getting an endorphin rush. And I think that's so that the Borg Queen can mentally manipulate her. But now we find out she's also needing to take in these lithium ion things. And like you say, she's changing the biology so that physically it isn't rejected from the body. So, I mean, this is presumably... if we get Jurati back, this is going to be a hugely traumatic experience.
I don't think we are going to get Jurati back, but I think we're going to get a new Borg. I do think we're going to get a new Borg Queen that isn't the same as what we've seen. We're going to get a new evolution of the Borg.
And, that we did get apart from the announcement of the TNG cast coming back, the only other thing we really got in that trailer was like a bit of a soundbite saying we're talking about a completely new life form. So, if we want to speculate, season 3 storyline could be, what do we do about this new species that's been created here?
Well, like, if my theory is right, and this is the Borg Queen we saw in episode 1.
Yeah.
Which I think we're really heading towards that.
I think we are. If we're not, it's a major swerve and it's going to take some serious backtracking.
And they've only got 2 episodes to do it.
Yeah.
So, but, like, in the timeline they've come back from, the alternate reality, the Borg have been destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
But in the normal timeline, the Borg haven't been destroyed. They've maybe had some losses, but there's going to be 2 Borg Queens there.
Oh, yeah.
So are these going to end up fighting?
Yeah, maybe a Borg civil war, but running a much more interesting...
Yeah, because you're sort of going, like with Hugh, aren't you? and then into Descent, where you had the Borg that had split off. But this is done in a different way.
I'm just wondering because there is a series of Star Trek novels called Destiny, and spoilers for anyone who's not read Star Trek Destiny, but it's emphatically non-canon now. But ultimately, what happens at the end of that is the Borg get assimilated or effectively assimilated by another species that were like their progenitor. So I'm wondering, are we going to go towards something similar there? Like, is this new Borg that Jurati creates going to
be more evolved,
absorb what's left of the bad Borg?
And is that where we got what was it, the 27th century Borg from Voyager?
Yeah, it could well.
I can't remember the name of the episode.
No, neither can I off the top of my head, but
because he was more evolved and more sort of individual.
Yeah, there's some real potential here. Could be some really interesting things going on. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on all of it. I think we're pretty safe that Jurati is going to be the one under the mask, but
yeah,
you never know. And we do see that Jurati is still in there somewhere because they have a little bit of a fight. But when I say Jurati, I'm meaning Jurati's personality. Spares 7.
Yeah, well, I think that's where the episode. Well, she just hits 7, and then it's Raffi that the Queen has up that's crushing her.
Sorry, yes, it is. You're right.
And you hear this. Is it? She just goes no.
Yeah, she lets her go.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely still Jurati in there, and I'm sure that in classic Star Trek fashion, we'll have a bit of an internal battle between the Jurati.
Yeah, this is where I think we get the new Queen, that we're going to have sort of like the Borg thing of assimilating and all that.
Yeah.
But you're also going to have Jurati's morality behind it.
Yeah, and maybe it'll be a case that they realise they can't separate them, but they're actually better together, sort of.
Yeah.
It'd be like Tuvix if they didn't murder Tuvix.
Yeah. Yeah, Tuvix was better than the...
Yeah, well, Tuvix was better than the other two, but Captain Jamie didn't think so. And some people...
It wasn't murder, honestly.
Yeah, even though they dragged him off the bridge screaming for his life, bless him. Anyway. Back with Agent Wells then and Picard. He gets him to read back the statement that Rios made a couple of weeks ago. And this is, again, what we've talked about time and time again this season, how there's such little attention to, such attention to little detail is what I mean, not little attention to detail. So we had this funny line the other week where Rios just said, "Oh, sod it, I'm just going to tell him the truth. He's not going to believe me anyway."
Yeah.
And so he went on this monologue, and it was a funny moment in that episode. But now it comes back to bite Picard on the ass.
Yeah.
And I love that. That's just brilliant.
And I like that Picard's got to read what Rios thinks about him.
Yes.
He's a cybernetic human. I really don't understand it, what he is anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And Patrick Stewart's just great, sort of selling that. You can tell he's pissed off, like, oh, this is what one of the lads has said about me.
Yeah.
But he's also got to try and blag Wells that he doesn't know this fella and it's got nothing to do with him. So he can't really show out.
You obviously tortured him to make him say this.
Yeah, that's a good line. So, yeah, just great stuff again. And then he splits them up. So we're going to have separate interrogations now. So he's running through the whole playbook of what you do.
Yeah.
Having them together and seeing if they'll expose anything. It's not worked. Split them up, see if I can play them one off against each other.
Well, then you look for differences in in the testimony, don't you?
Absolutely. I like, we did mention it earlier, but where he's writing something down and Guinan says, "What are you doing?" He says, "Well, you're laughing, so I'm writing down that your species has a sense of humour." And notably as well, Picard says, "I can, without a word of a lie, tell you I am not an extraterrestrial," but Guinan keeps quiet. So
yeah.
I thought that was what he was writing down. I thought he was going to be writing down, the woman hasn't said that she's not. So, and then back on the ship then, and we get we get a bit more in the romance storyline and everything. So we got the kid eating too much cake.
Like, do you think he's going to take these back with him?
I don't know. I mean, it's looking very much like that, isn't it?
Or do you think he might stay? He might stay.
He might stay there, but then wouldn't it be the whole thing of, well...
Yeah, that could be dodgy.
If you stay there rest of your life, are you going to muck the timeline up?
Yeah. And you know too much about the future.
Or unless they find a way that he has to stay. Like, you could have something like, oh, well, you know, I've run a check on it. And
one of us has to stay to press the button.
Oh, there you go. So that could work. Or it could be something like, well, we've looked at all of her history, and it turns out she has a child that is really important, but her child's surname is Rios, so you must be the father. So you'll have a bit of a John Connor thing going on. I don't know. We talked about the other week about replicators and how Rios can appreciate how much better the real thing is, but this kid doesn't seem to care with the cakes.
They're seeing it from the other side of wonder. If you ask for anything and it's there.
Yeah, exactly. And I reckon,
he goes, ask for anything, and he goes, 4 cakes straight away.
I like that it decides, I'm going to give you a variety of cakes as well.
Yeah.
We're going to have a red velvet one. We're going to have a chocolate. So, yeah, you would go a little bit crazy.
Yeah, like the computer's obviously a lot more advanced than Voyager or Next Generation, because, like, when he's gone 4 cakes, it hasn't come out with, I have 57 recipes for cakes on mine. Would you like...
I bet Tom Paris made some improvements when he got back from the Delta Quad. You're like, look, we've been stuck on this ship for 7 years, and every time
he asks for tomato soup.
Yeah, so he's made sure that they get the replicators updated. And Rios finally gets a kiss, which is nice.
Yeah.
And
this is why, like, I think he's either going to take her and the kids with him, or he's going to stay behind.
Yeah, I don't think we're splitting this couple up because...
No, like, we could have that... they see it in... she's known historical importance, and in a year, during some race riots, her and the son get killed.
Yeah, so you can take her with you in the world. Yeah, we definitely could do that. Because otherwise, just from a storytelling point of view, if we're not going to do something like that,
what's the point?
Point in it, exactly. You don't want Rios to just have a fling and leave it, and that's it, done, because that doesn't really get us anywhere. Q then, so we finally get this return of Q, and it turns out he did hear the summoning ritual.
Yeah, it's just taking him some time to get there.
It's taken him ages to get there, and he's had to somehow nick an FBI thing to, I presume he's nicked it. I presume he can't alter his appearance anymore. So,
like, it's obvious he can obviously do stuff. So, I'm imagining that he might have lost his like superhuman powers, his godlike powers, but he's also got billions of years of experience and knowledge that he hasn't lost. So. It can probably do replicators and probably first thing he's done is knocked together a basic replicator, and then he's made it replicate something that can produce everything he needs. So his IDs, and he can log back into any system and put his ID and all that there. He can get the clothes he needs, and
he's definitely a resourceful guy in any form. So and we get much more, and this, I think, this is brilliant from Q, how he's ruminating about the fact that he's dying, and at first he thought it was going to be really exciting, but now he's like, oh, I'm just fading away.
I'm really trying to disintegrate you now.
That's the thing, isn't it, with Q? It can go from these goofy, silly moments into something really quite sinister.
Yeah, but how he does it, like, it is quite sinister that I'm really trying to will you out of existence now. And how he does it is still goofy and comedic.
Yeah, and he absolutely would have done, I'm sure, if he could have done. But And then he says some stuff that I think we're getting a bit more insight into what is actually going on with the whole season here. Because he says, can a single act redeem a lifetime? And he says, it's the escape that matters, not the trap.
Yeah.
So that implies to me that he has put Picard in this situation because getting out of this situation will benefit Picard in some way.
But you will also be able to learn from it.
Yeah, and that's what he's trying to do as like a final act of redemption. And this goes even further because he says humans are all trapped in the past, which turns out to be a direct clue to help Picard get out of the current situation that he's in. So he definitely seems to be helping them, but we know that he's also been pushing to make it worse. So it's like he needs Picard to resolve this for some reason.
Yeah.
And, we don't know why. I'm sure we will find out.
He's dying and they've all lost the powers. And
so what? But why would Picard solving this fix that? But
the Q must get the powers back.
Yes, as you said.
Because Discovery has already said that. In Discovery season 3, they said we haven't heard from the Q of season 4, was it?
Yeah.
Beginning of season 4, they go, we haven't heard from the Q for 400 years.
Yeah, and that was
400 years to them. He's saying 500 years in the future from Picard's real time.
Exactly, and the two writing rooms must have liaised with each other and gone, okay, we want to put a line in about Q. Well, we're actually doing a season-long storyline about Q, so let's make sure our stories tally up here. So, yeah. So it's interesting, and I'm sure we will get the answer.
But Discovery has ruined that dilemma because I know Q must get better.
Yeah, we know Q in some form. We don't know whether it'll be this Q.
I think it'll be this Q.
But there will be.
Because, people talk about the Q being villains. I don't think they really are villains.
I don't think they are. I think they're somewhat callous to lower life forms. Like they treat everyone.
They look down on everyone.
Yeah, and they act like every other species is there for their amusement. But I don't think that comes out of malice. Like, I think they genuinely think, oh, well, it don't matter what you do to humans because they're only humans. It's not. They don't matter enough to worry about sending an asteroid into the home. Whatever it is they decide to do that week. But yeah, I think it's that this on such a different plane that they don't comprehend it. And certainly Q's arc in TNG and his relationship with Picard has taught him that humanity has some value.
Yeah, but he was also trying to push Picard to better himself all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe that's what this is again. He needs Picard to take that next step for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's only... I don't know. But I'm sure we'll get the answers in the next couple of weeks. Corey then confronts Soong. She's not happy. She leaves. But he's not left alone for too long because Jurati turns up, or the Queen, or whatever we want to call her, Jaquini.
I like how she comes down and goes, surely I don't have to explain the futility of resistance.
Oh, yes.
I think that's really nice. And she does this a bit later as well.
Yes,
there's a play on the normal way the Borg say things.
Yeah, do you want to add your biological and technological? Yeah, she's definitely vamping it up a bit. There does seem to be some of Jurati's personality coming out, even if it's the thing that's driving the ship at the time. So we finally got, really, the two villains of the season are teaming up in... like them classic episodes of the Adam West Batman where you'd have an episode where the Riddler and the Joker are working together. And I'm sure they had their own...
There's the Batman movie. There's the original Batman movie from...
Oh, all four of them.
Yeah. The Riddler, the Penguin, the Joker, Catwoman.
Yeah. I don't know how they managed to solve that one because that was I do actually remember how they did it. Let's go into on it. It's really quite bizarre. But if you've not seen it, and you've got the Batman bug because you've seen the latest one, go back and check out the 1966 Batman movie. That'll be an
Was
eye.
it 66, the Batman movie?
I think it was.
It was after the series.
It was after the first season of the series.
I thought it was after the whole thing had finished.
No, it was one of them where the first season was that popular that they were like, right, bang a film out as quick as we can. And then I think they did that between seasons 1 and 2.
Right. I always was under the impression it was after it being made, because like one of the big things when Star Trek the Motion Picture came out was they were going, has there ever been a movie made after a TV series? And it was no, because Batman did it.
Good point. Yeah. I mean, I'll hold my hands up if I'm wrong, but I've got a feeling it was in between seasons.
You could be right. Like, I'm remembering stuff that I heard like when I was about 8 or 9. And...
Either way, go check it out. You'll have a blast with the Batman movies. Some days you can't get rid of a bomb, so go check it out. Then Guinan goes all 11 from Stranger Things to send this message to Picard. Am I right in saying we've never seen an Elorian do this before? I mean, she's always had a latent psychic thing.
We've never seen one sort of astral project like this, where we can see them. Have we had it where... I'm trying to think if we've had it where they can sort of hear them, sort of project the thoughts.
I'm not sure.
No, I think they've taken it a bit further than what we've seen previously. But I think also you've got the thing that we all knew there was something extra special about Guinan that we'd never seen in the Next Generation.
Absolutely.
And they're revealing the actual powers of the Elorians.
Yeah. And what we get as well is whatever she's doing is causing her to have this nosebleed.
Yeah.
So this isn't something that she would do every 2 minutes at the drop of a hat. No. This is dangerous and it takes a lot of effort. So I can believe that because let's be honest, most of the time we've seen Guinan, she's been behind the bar. You're not going to need to see this ability.
No.
So, yeah, I'm happy. I know there'll be people who are very upset that this is a new Elorian ability, but I can.
Well, they were upset about summoning Q, weren't they?
Exactly.
But we finally got that explained.
We did. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. And it was nothing to do with looking at its giant teeth.
No, which is a bit of a disappointment, let's be honest. But yeah, at least we've got something now.
And if anyone hasn't seen it, that's a reference to Monty Python's Holy Grail.
Yeah, watch that before you watch Batman, actually. Do a double bill. That'll be a good night of comedy if you watch them too. And then you get this lovely scene with Picard and Wells where he says, well, let's have an exchange of truth then. And Wells sort of confesses that, well, you're the thing I have to prove because something happened to me in my past. And the Vulcan thing. And it turns out this guy thought the Vulcans were trying to kill him.
Yeah, and melt it into his head and he goes, was it more like this?
Yeah, and that's lovely how Picard just reaches up to him and touches him and goes, no, it's this. And you can see that he's just soothing pain that this guy's had for his whole life. And it's just such a kind act that Picard does it. And it wins the guy over and it gets him on their side. And it also lets Guinan start to see, actually, humans can be pretty good. I've become very jaded recently, but you're showing me how...
You're reminding me of things, almost.
Yeah. So it's another one of them lovely scenes where it serves a lot of purposes. It does a lot of things with what it actually shows us. And you get that great line like, perhaps you had to be that boy so you can be this man who lets us go. And I just think it's lovely for such a minor sort of one episode character that we give him this whole arc and we explore, childhood trauma and we explore who he's going to become potentially going forward. I just think it's lovely the amount of detail to give to him. And obviously, he's going to help now. And Picard's, the way he says it, like he says, and seemingly, I need your help now. And it really comes across that he's grateful to him and that he realizes that he needs this guy's help and everything. He's very, very good with people, is Picard.
Yeah.
He's able to get people on the side.
But we've seen this right through the Next Generation, so this is nothing new.
No, not at all. But I think, as we've said the last few weeks, that this older take on Picard and Patrick Stewart being older, there is, I think, a touch more compassion to him than we used to see.
Yeah.
He was always a compassionate guy, but maybe not compassion the right word, softness to him that we might not have seen before. And then the villain team up then. So the Queen explains why Adam Sung's big. We saw his statues back in the second episode, and it appears that Rene Picard's going to find this microorganism, and for whatever reason, that will mean that Sung's experiments and whatnot are not needed. Well,
if she finds alien life, because if she finds this microorganism, that proves that there's life on other planets.
Yeah.
And that's the first time humanity will have seen that.
Yeah.
We are, like, I 100% believe that these other life forms in the universe, it's too big not to be.
Yes.
But we have no proof of that. It's literally just scientific theory at the moment.
No, that's it. Like, it's like you say, it's to do with the fact that there's so many planets out there. The chances of one of them not sustaining life of some kind is next to nothing, because the universe is so vast that there has to be.
It's a ridiculous. I think it's a ridiculous supposition to imagine that we are the only planet that has life, even if it's just microorganisms that exist elsewhere.
That's it, exactly. So it will change human society, and I'm wondering if whatever this organism is, maybe it'll have a cure to a disease or something.
Maybe.
It's got to be something that provides that could only otherwise be provided by Soong. And Soong seems to be all about genetic tampering and things like that. So it appears that if they don't find that, Soong basically manages to become something of a ruler of the planet, because he's like, well, I've got this technology and this can save you from... I wonder if it'll tie into World War III in some way.
Possibly.
He can genetically alter people so they can withstand radiation, or I don't know, but something like that.
Yeah, there's something. It does... If she finds this life form, things get better on Earth, and we obviously people start acting a bit more responsibly.
Eventually,
maybe the rich people stop destroying, pumping out all the fossil fuels.
Well, they'll be
just for their own profit.
They'll be too busy having a war first, but once they get past that, yes. And then the plan is formulated. So what we want to do is take over La Sirena so that she can get the technology to start assimilating people properly.
Yeah.
But she gives it a trial run, which is when she delivers that line we talked about. And, again, I'm sure people will say, well, the Borg aren't like that, and I don't like what they're doing, and blah, 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 blah. But we have got a special forces unit of Borg. That's cool, whichever way.
And it ties in that they're not being assimilated in the same way.
No,
because in episode 1, we have them referred to as our queen.
Yes, exactly. And
they're obviously thinking differently.
Yeah, and it looks like the look seems to be they're just going with the dark eyes and slightly pallid skin.
There doesn't seem like there's... She doesn't have enough nano probes for them to start having robot sort of things. She it's almost like mind control, maybe a bit of augmented strength.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with it. We've seen traditional Borg a lot. I don't mind seeing some badass marine Borg.
Yeah, if you're bringing, if you're going to do the Borg again, you need to do something different, because we saw a lot of Borg in Voyager.
Exactly.
A hell of a lot.
So, yeah, I am well up for the Special Forces Borg laying siege to La Sirena next week.
Yeah, and I can see it being assimilated,
and that's where we get that ship from, absolutely, yeah. So
I think it's all playing in really well to my prediction. I think
it is.
I don't think there's anything that's thrown my prediction off track.
Not yet, no. So Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I think you're absolutely right. I think that Borg ship that we saw in episode 1 was actually La Sirena.
Yeah.
And we'll see how the nuts and bolts of it all play out.
Like, I think the big clue there is La Sirena. As we get closer to it looking like it's going to be, is that it's part of the opening credits still.
True, yeah, very true. Yeah. So
and the ship is in Star Trek. The ship has always been one of the characters.
Absolutely. No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think you're right. But it'll be fun to see how exactly we get there. And I presume we're going to kick off with a bit of a battle next week. So that's going to be some fun.
Yeah. I do want to point out that La Sirena will still exist in the Prime Universe because this is the alternate universe La Sirena.
Yes, you're right.
Assimilating.
Yeah, Seven will still have a La Sirena, but the La Sirena, alt La Sirena will be,
yeah.
Oh, it makes
it's things to sort of bear in mind. It's like Rios keeps referring to this as his ship. And it isn't his ship. This is an alternate reality version.
Yeah, this is the Nazi version of his ship.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can get your proper ship back when you get back to the real timeline. Anyway, we'll see what happens next week then. But yeah, another great episode. And if they can stick the landing on these last two, as we've said many times, this is one of the best Star Trek seasons we've ever had. And certainly,
I think it wouldn't surprise me if by the end of this next episode, if we're heading back to the future.
Me too. I think it's pretty much going to be a two-parter, but it's going to be very separate two parts. It's next week is the end of the being in the past.
Yeah.
The final episode is wrapping up back in.
The final episode is going to be back on the Stargazer and stuff.
Exactly.
And I think that there's going to be. I think she's going to take the crew back with her.
Yeah.
So that they can alter what happened the first time. So the stop.
Yeah, I think the crew are on that ship on the Borg ship that we saw in episode 1. But we'll find out anyway. So we'll be back next week to talk about the penultimate episode, and it'll also be the final episode before Strange New World starts, which is going to be fantastic as well.
Well, that's just going to be a mental episode, isn't it? Because we've got a retrek, because we've got a finale of Picard, which how this season's gone is off to be absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
And we're going to have the first episode of Strange New Worlds.
Which is easily the most anticipated show since Star Trek came back. So
I'll be honest, I can imagine not next week, the week after our show being nearly 2 hours long.
Yeah. So there you go. You've got that to look forward to, but just a normal size episode next week. If you want to get in touch with us in the meantime, we're on Twitter at RetrekPod. Email us retrekpod@gmail.com. Come and find us on Facebook. Search for Retrek. Check out Elliot's model building channel, Retrek's Model
Studios. I never got one out last week, but we were away, and
you've got bags and bags of old videos that can go back to them. So absolutely. And thanks for trekking with us this time, and we'll see you next time on the Retrek.
Thank you. Bye-bye.